No, but you know when you're standing on the escalator as it's going up.
Yes.
The person in front of you generally has their arse about at your level of head.
Yeah, no, it's
right?
an unfortunate.
And you
setup.
certainly wouldn't want
That's
that to be
why
naked.
I walk up escalators.
You wouldn't.
regardless.
You would not want that to be naked in front of you.
No, you wouldn't want that to be naked, but also you've got someone else's backside
Yeah,
right there.
right.
Anything could happen.
It's true. And it's not a pleasant place to be.
No. Welcome, of course, to Grumpy Old Men, and I am joined as ever by Kevin O'Sullivan and Mike Graham. Welcome, you grumpy old sods.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes. Let's kick off with you, Mike.
Yes. Topless men on the tube.
Oh, hello.
You know.
Hello. What
Now-
tube lines are you going on?
Well, you may remember not that long ago, it was rather warm in the
yes, it was.
the southern capital of the
Yes,
Mediterranean.
I'm still dressing accordingly.
You are, absolutely. At one stage, I think the hottest it got was 30 degrees.
Yes.
Which, as you
May Day, right?
Yeah,
Hottest
May Day.
May Day
I
ever.
didn't
That
come
was
to
May Day.
London that day.
Now, I tend to use the tube to go home after my show, right? So it's in the morning. So it's not really at a time when you'd expect people to be topless on the tube. Normally, you'd expect people to be either going to work or, something like that. And as I was walking down the escalator here at the London Bridge, I was taken by this character who walked past me and sort of slightly nudged into me as he was coming past me to walk down the escalator. And he wasn't wearing a shirt. And he was completely, basically half naked. And barrelling down the escalator, he had tattoos. He looked
Nothing
quite
wrong with a
fit.
tattoo.
Nothing wrong with the
wrong with
tattoo.
it. Wasn't me. I'd just
Nothing-
like to say it wasn't me, but there's nothing wrong with tattoos.
He had an earring. He had a
I
sort
haven't got
of
one.
very, very short hair. And he was probably a middle-aged guy. He wasn't young.
Oh.
And
Was he in good shape?
he was in pretty good shape.
Oh, right.
I mean, it would have been worse if he wasn't. I mean,
No,
imagine if I was
absolutely.
naked or half naked.
Yeah, don't you do that, Mike?
No.
Let me just
I'm
imagine
definitely
that
not-
for a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just threw up in my own mouth.
Yeah,
Carry
thank
on,
you very
Mike.
much. I wouldn't be doing that. But it strikes me that there are people who, just because they think it's hot on the tube, think that they can just not wear any clothes. It's unbelievable. And I thought,
It is unacceptable.
it's really not.
It
what you
really
think.
is
If a few women want to do it, I might sort of have
that's
a different
yeah,
view.
yeah. That's a bit sexist.
Yeah, it is
You know.
sexist, but I would like to see some
No,
topless
actually, I
women
don't
on the
think
tube.
I'd like to see that.
hashtag me too, but,
would.
Yeah.
would it be... we could have a nude carriage, couldn't we?
I suppose you could, but then the problem you then have is that what would happen if they get off the nude carriage and then they have to get back up the escalator? You don't want to be standing behind
Sorry, is
somebody.
that a euphemism?
Well,
Back up.
back up the escalier.
All right, come back up the escalator. Yeah, go on then.
Stop staring
One more.
at me. Stop staring. No, but you know when you're standing on the escalator as it's going up.
Yes.
The person in front of you generally has their arse about at your level of head.
Yeah, no, it's
right?
an unfortunate
And you
setup.
certainly wouldn't want
That's
that to be
why
naked.
I walk up escalators.
You wouldn't.
regardless.
You would
Yeah.
not want that to be naked in front of you. would you?
no, you wouldn't want that to be naked, but also I can't stand on an escalator on the underground.
No?
Because unless there's nobody else on it. Because as you say, you've got someone else's backside
Yeah,
right there.
right.
Anything could happen.
It's true, and
know.
it's not a pleasant place to be.
No.
And particularly on the tube in the hot weather anyway. I mean, it's so hot. I remember we once did a study that it was so hot on the tube that if you were a piece of cattle or a piece of a young cow, a piece of cattle, a veal steak, for example, as in a young cow.
It's
it
illegal.
would
It's
be illegal to
Yeah, no,
transport
it's-
a cow
No.
in
Throughout
that
the summer.
temperature.
No,
Have
it's
you,
well
have you
known
ever gone
because
topless
it's
anywhere,
too-
Kev?
On the beach now
Yeah.
and again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't I? I was topless
I mean,
on
do
your
you-
show once, wasn't I?
Were you?
No. Yeah, when I was in Greece. I
Oh,
think.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I came on. The show.
Do you favour a short or a budgie smuggler? Where are you? What is it?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean,
When
is
you
it a
swim it?
Speedos or
Oh,
a
I
swimming
wear
short?
shorts.
Yeah,
shorts.
yeah.
Stripy
Thank
shorts.
God for that.
Stripy shorts.
He once fell in the local harbour side. He went on holiday, filming himself as he thought would be a great thing, a great week
For us, wasn't it? Yeah.
for the Thought Police podcast that we were doing. And unfortunately for him, at one point he took a step back and fell straight in the drink.
Oh,
I did. Yeah.
there was that weatherman that happened to as well, wasn't there? Fred the weatherman.
That's
Remember
right.
him?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, on Richard and Judy.
Was that when they used to jump across the river, the thing?
Yeah, he
You
threw,
see,
threw
the
himself.
topless people on the tube is one of the many things they should ban on the tube.
They should.
ban nudity or semi-nudity. They should ban eating food as well.
yes, they
Didn't
should.
they ban drinking on the tube? Didn't
Yeah.
they?
Well, they've also
you're
got
not
to do
supposed
that
to
anymore.
booze.
One of the things that I've been noticing lately as well is they banned bicycles.
Yes, they have.
And I never know where the voice is coming from, but it's happened to me twice now. Some guy has turned up. I don't know how he gets to the platform with a bike, which is not folded up, but you hear the voice saying, "We do not allow bikes which are not folded up on the tube." And then nothing happens. And then you say, Would the man just about
That's
to
right,
just got
yeah.
on the carriage please get off with the bike? So they're watching somehow, and the voice in the sky, the voice of God says,
if they've
"You've got to take
got
the bike
that,
out."
if they've got that means, why don't they go? Excuse me, you with the tattoos in not bad shape
Yeah.
for your middle age.
You
Put a shirt on.
Yeah. Because he had a little bag with him, which I presume he had a shirt in. But it's like in America, you know, or many other parts of the world where you go to sort of go on holiday, they'll have signs, won't they? No shirt, no sale.
Yeah.
If you can't go into the bar with no shirt on, why should you be able to go on the tube?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Totally.
Shocking.
Kevin, tell us.
Trigger warnings.
Oh yeah.
They're getting ridiculous. So we know all about the ones on television. We know the ones about stage. You know, trigger warnings from Macbeth. This play may feature death. Be careful, and so on and so forth.
That's a bit of a spoiler, isn't it?
Well, they do
Spoiler
it,
alert.
but they do it
a
on
trigger warning for the spoiler.
So trigger warnings on classic TV. So there's all these nostalgia TV shows that say that they are literally being trigger warninged out of existence.
I've
because
heard
you've got trigger
Wurzel
warnings
Gummidge
on.
has one.
Well, yeah,
That's right,
Wurzel
you've got one.
Gummidge, but you know, be careful. There's a scarecrow.
Yeah.
You might find that frightening.
Who changes his head?
Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
What's the trigger warning for Only Fools and Horses?
That it contains language you may find offensive.
Isn't the horse called Trigger?
No. Trigger is a character played by Roger Lloyd Pack.
There you
Roger
go.
Lloyd Pack.
All right.
God rest
He's
his
one of
soul.
the he's one of the gang.
Yeah.
He's one of Del
See, I
Boy's
missed
gang.
that show because I was in America when it was on, so I was sort of missing part of my cultural history.
Sorry, are you saying that you know nothing about Only Fools and Horses?
I've never really seen it. I've seen clips from it.
You know what you're
Brilliant.
doing this weekend,
No,
Mike?
I love the clips. I think it's fantastic. But I've never actually seen the whole show.
So Terry and June has got trigger warning.
No.
Terry and June, the most inoffensive comedy
Yeah.
ever. Not particularly funny, but certainly not offensive.
No.
The reason I've said trigger warnings today is because this week, the most absurd trigger warning of all time has come up. And that is, you know the film The Full Monty?
Yes.
Where the story of a bunch of working class guys who decide to become male strippers, raise
they get
money
their
for
knobs out.
And the final scene is
Sorry
they
to
go
ruin
like
it.
this. They go like and reveal everything, right? So that was turned into a very successful stage play, a West End hit.
It was.
It's now been turned into a musical. It's just started in Portsmouth. Portsmouth. Well, it will go to Portugal.
I mean, almost the same, Portugal and Portsmouth.
Well, it is.
Same
Great.
two
Very hard to tell them apart.
You know, it's first four letters. Anyway,
Any port in a storm.
so it starts in Portsmouth. It's coming with a trigger warning this play features nudity.
Doesn't it say it's better than that? It says partial nudity.
Partial.
You kind of go, well, hang on, it's meant to be
It's
the full
not partial
Monty.
nudity.
The full Monty.
Yeah.
It's the full Monty.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
the partial Monty.
I mean,
But
in the
the point-
musical version, do they not get it all out?
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, yes, they do. That's hence the warning. But as Mike says, it's not. It's called the full Monty, not the partial Monty.
It is mad.
This is just one more example of how this is going crazy.
Yeah.
We are sentient, grown-up adults. We don't need to be treated like children. Oh, this old sitcom may feature a nasty word that's a bit racist. So what?
I mean, I must admit,
So what?
the younger generation, though, who are very snowflakery, would probably be
Surely
aghast.
not.
Aghast. I mean, I saw this story as well. Talking Pictures, I think is the name of the TV channel.
Well, there's about five. There's
several of
about
them,
10
who
of
do
them.
millions and millions
Rewind
of viewers because they put the Carry On films on.
Yep.
They do Benny Hill and all that kind of thing. But I mean, I'm sure I've seen people reacting to stuff like that, and they can't quite believe that used to be on TV. I mean, I watch Rising Damp quite a bit because it happens to be on.
I
when
was
stick the TV
talking
on.
about this.
It's hilarious.
I was talking about this today with somebody who was sort of saying, you know, if you were born before 1970, which
Yeah.
I think everybody here was.
Indeed.
I wonder what that's like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember it.
You know, I mean, please, sir, bless this
Yeah.
house. You know,
Right.
That's got a trigger warning. and bless this house.
On the
I'm not
buses.
surprised.
They both have.
On the
Because-
On the buses, that is full of trigger
Yeah.
warnings.
We should maybe have trigger warnings on the tube. You may experience a partially
Right.
naked man on the
Yeah,
tube.
well, they have got trigger warnings for a lot. One of the most ridiculous signs I've seen of note of late is on the tube station that I use in South East London, where they've got "You are wanted and loved in London."
Really?
And then it's got TFL down the bottom. I presume it's some
By
kind
who?
of measure of. It's presumably
yeah.
addressed to
I don't-
anyone
I don't
who
feel
doesn't
wanted or loved
I don't
on
feel
the
wanted
tube.
or loved when I get on the tube.
Is it-
In fact, I feel ripped off.
Have you seen
most
this
of the
new
time.
one? There's a brilliant new announcement and a poster on the tube, which is this. Always give up your seat to someone who may need it more than you. And remember, some disabilities are not visible. Well, how do you bloody well know then?
Well, also, that's
You know,
a trigger
if
warning.
they've got an invisible disability, how do you know
Yeah.
they're
Well, I
giving
mean,
the seat?
that man doesn't have a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he get a seat?
Also, imagine how insulting it would be if you went up to a woman who you thought was pregnant and said, obviously you're preparing for birth. Would you like my seat?
well, what I do,
and
what
she's
I-
not pregnant.
No, what I do is I go up to pregnant women who are sitting down and say, would you mind giving me that seat, please?
Yeah.
And old people.
Do you know what's worse?
Old people. I ask them to move.
Do you know what's worse? This happened to me last year. A young woman got up and offered me her seat.
Yeah.
I was going, no, you're okay.
Did she think you were pregnant?
No, I think she just thought I was really old.
No, okay. Fair enough.
Some people do.
Now, moving on, I want
That's
to...
because they're right.
If I'm not as old as you, though.
That's true.
Should have
Moving
offered you 2 seats.
I just look younger.
I kind of see a lot of what we do here as a public service.
I do.
And I would like to point out to all our viewers and any of my friends, family, whatever, that are watching, 5-minute voice notes are unacceptable on every level.
It's a good one.
I mean, what? I mean,
When you,
like,
when
so
you get that
miss
little
a call.
sign, it says
No.
5 minutes 48, you go, oh my God.
No, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Blue tick, do not respond.
Right.
Blue tick, do not respond.
Yeah.
I do not have, so I've missed your call.
Yeah.
Right? So what you're going to do is give me your side of the conversation
Yeah.
you wanted to have with me.
Yeah.
No, not interested.
No. Oh, can't they just leave a message, like leave a voicemail?
Could you call me back? I've got a lot of rubbish I need to tell you.
Yeah.
Not, I'm going to tell you all the rubbish now
Yeah.
in this voice note that I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Now,
And
look,
is it a voice note or is it a voicemail? Is it different? I mean,
well,
I know
it's
it's
voice
different.
note.
I mean,
WhatsApp
if
voice note.
WhatsApp,
WhatsApp
it's
voice
a
note.
voice
No,
note.
okay, that's what I mean.
right?
But what I'm saying is it's not just that they've listened to the beat.
No.
and left
WhatsApp
the
voice
voice
note.
note.
No.
They've actually taken the time
Well, no,
to
that's
put
the
the
other-
phone down
but that's the other-
and make the voice note.
That's the other equally irritating
Right.
thing. The most recent update on these bloody phones.
Yeah.
Right? They put the voicemail back on your phone.
Yes.
When I had removed it, I hadn't had voicemail for
I haven't got
Yeah.
God knows how long.
Right.
And now it's back on my phone.
it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had it, I think.
But I mean, the long and it's like.
Yeah.
So
to be honest,
if
anything
it's,
longer than...
if it's a close friend, you sort of think, well, my God. When they first started doing it,
Yeah.
you think, oh my God, has something dreadful happened? They've left a 5.5-minute voice
That's
note
ridiculous.
on my phone, and you start to listen to it, you go, this is just a stream of
Rub-
conscious, and then you go, actually, it's not conscious. They are unconscious.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
are
I think
talking
anything
to
longer than
themselves.
about 30 seconds is a no-no.
I think it's
for
okay
me.
for 30, 45
Now,
seconds.
I am.
Not longer than that.
I'm going to put it out there, and it could be dangerous territory. I am partial to a video note.
Notes. Yeah.
Because
I
you
do those
can't
with my daughter only.
You can't do them for longer than 30 seconds,
That's good.
which
Yeah.
is fine. So get it out of the way.
Maybe on your WhatsApp, when it says what you're doing.
And the good thing,
you could say, leave me a video note only.
yeah, I mean, the good thing also as well is you can use sign language.
Yeah.
Which is great for a video
Right,
note.
right.
Because you don't even have to say anything. You could just press record, do that.
Right.
And then, which is
They're
what
done.
you do back to the person who has left you the 5.5-minute voice note.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So
it's a shame
please-
you can't have some kind of way of rejecting it and sending it back without it being
Well,
open.
no, I now,
Indicating
I now,
that you didn't
I
listen.
now send.
I did
well,
not listen
you either
to
go,
this.
You either go 2 blue ticks.
Yeah.
I haven't responded because I don't know. I've got better things to do.
Yeah.
Or you just go, I am never going to listen to
Right.
this in its entirety. If you wish to speak to me, call me back.
Yeah, absolutely right.
I am available between these hours.
Yes.
On Kensington 351.
Right. And also, have you got that other thing where sometimes people ring you up and you answer and you think you immediately regret it?
Yes.
Because you can tell immediately the person wants to have a long conversation.
Yeah.
And they say something and you go, well, hurry up because I'm right in the middle of something. I can only... And then they keep talking. And they just keep going on
Now, I'm a commuter. I'm a commuter, right? And I come in by car.
Yes.
Right? And I don't mind having a long conversation when I'm in
In the car,
'cause it
fine.
helps the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I am walking down the street, you can't do it
No.
anymore because someone will go past on a scooter and
nick your phone, yeah.
nick your phone. And also, the other thing is, my hand gets tired.
Yeah.
I get a
don't.
sore arm.
I no longer hold the phone to my ear. If I have somebody call me, I'm at home, I just put it on speaker.
Yeah.
Right.
On the table.
Or
I walk
or
around.
drive, or call me when I'm driving.
Yeah, call me when I'm driving.
That's-
But do
that's it.
not, under any circumstances, leave a voice note of any length longer than 30 seconds.
Exactly right.
That's it. Thank you. Moving on. Mike?
Yeah. shopping centres.
Yes.
There's one near me, but lately there's been an encroachment from all sorts of people. So you've got people from charities standing there trying to stop everybody going in or getting people as they're weighing out. And my most recent visit, there was somebody there from British Gas, right, trying to sign people up to change over their bleeding energy supplier. And I literally went to get my stuff out of the cleaners or something, and I'm walking past this guy and he's like, can I talk to you about energy? And I went, no, I don't have gas, sorry. And I kept walking. He sort of followed me down the corridor, well, down the shopping centre, and said, have you got electricity? I went, no. I'm not interested, stop. And he just kept walking. And they're like
He wasn't the same guy with no top on.
No, he did have a top on.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's this kind of...
Then he left you a 5-minute voice.
Yeah, it's encroachment. It's this encroachment where people think, because you're outside, they can just bother you. I don't want people to talk to me. I don't want people to come up to me and solicit me for some kind of service that they want to sell me.
No.
I don't answer phone calls like that. I don't wish to have people doing it in person.
Have you ever been stopped by any of these people and thought, my God, I didn't know. That's revolutionary. Sign me up straight away.
No.
Because if you are that kind of person, you shouldn't be outside anyway.
That's the thing.
You're a danger to yourself.
Not far from here. They haven't been there that recently, but I don't know if you've noticed at the bottom of the other escalator, which goes down towards the back of the Shard.
Yes.
There's these kids there that collect money
Yes.
On credit cards because they say, "Oh, don't worry," because the old ruse used to be, "I haven't got any money." They now go, "Oh, don't worry, we've got a credit card machine, and you can give money to some charity that supposedly stops knife crime."
Yep.
But of course, the papers recently did a big expose of them, and they're not charities at all. They're not even registered as charities.
The kids take that money and buy knives with it. Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
shocking.
have to say, though, those kids are wasted doing that because some of them are phenomenal salesmen.
Yeah, they are.
They are I say, look,
get
you're
a real
so
job.
good at this. Go and get a job in sales.
Yeah.
Go and sell cars to morons because you're brilliant. Or go and get on The Apprentice with Alan Sugar.
Exactly.
Lord Sugar.
My lord.
But
that's the thing. I'm
even though no one will see you there anymore.
Yeah, it's more
the best
and more.
place to hide in Britain, The Apprentice. Nobody watches it.
It's just becoming more and more difficult to sort of navigate open public spaces without being accosted by some maniac who's trying to sell you some BS.
Yes. No, it is.
So I'm not happy about it.
No, I can tell. Would you go so far as to say you're grumpy?
Yeah, I would say that.
Excellent.
Very.
That is the theme of this show.
Good.
And therefore, we are going to move to Kev, who's always grumpy.
He's always grumpy.
Very grumpy. I want to talk about Brits and the weather. I mean, you could just complain about the weather, which is what Brits do all the time.
Yeah.
But it was brought into sharp focus. You were talking just now about we had this sort of short phase last week where it was suddenly incredibly hot.
I'm
Hottest
still enjoying
May Day ever. If you notice, so that was May the 1st. Last Friday was May the 2nd. That was pretty damn hot.
Yeah.
Saturday began beautifully. I know this because I was up early on my way to Birmingham. Nobody knows why. I was going to see Fulham get beaten by Villa.
Oh, I see. Right.
So I'm marching down at about 7:30, marching down the street towards the tube station. What a lovely day! Fantastic! Wow, my spirit's soaring. By lunchtime, the clouds had come on down. By the time we got to Birmingham, it was absolutely freezing. So we went from the hottest May Day ever to the coldest May the 3rd ever. So my point is, everyone last week went, "Oh, look, the weather's so hot, it's fantastic. Nobody seems to have mentioned that we've gone from the hottest days of the year to the coldest days ever.
Yeah.
It has been absolutely freezing for the last few
Our
days.
heating's back on. I turned the
exactly.
heating back
Yeah.
on.
Well, aren't you just proving your point, though, that we're just sitting here talking about the weather?
Yeah.
Because that's what we do.
No, but
the topless man would have been caught out, wouldn't he? Because even if he'd taken
when
a
I-
tube
He's
on
freezing.
Saturday morning, he would have
Well,
needed a coat
no,
when he got to the other end.
that was what was so funny. So I got onto this quite early train on Saturday morning to go up to Birmingham, and it's full of Fulham fans. And they're all dressed for the summer. They literally got tiny shorts on, little cap sleeves, t-shirts.
Well, I mean, it stayed quite good down here.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
it didn't in Birmingham.
Well, no, because is there not a permanent cloud?
Well, there's a
Birmingham?
garbage cloud there.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I got to Birmingham, never saw any rubbish, couldn't smell anything, didn't see any rats. It was absolutely perfect. So I was talking to a couple of Villa fans in the pub afterwards. And they said, "Oh, it's just the press." He said, "There's all these places you can go where there are he said, "There's about 5 big rubbish piles, but apart from that, nothing's going on."
Oh.
So that was disappointing.
No, it's
but
disappointing.
these guys who dressed for summer,
Yeah.
by the time we got to Villa Park, they were absolutely freezing.
I had that once. I had to go to Newfoundland
Oh, that's
to follow
cold.
Prince Edward around.
That is cold.
Because it was the old days of News of the World, and they didn't bother sending because he was that boring. So they called me from New York, and I was living in New York, where it was the middle of summer. And I flew up there, and I was wearing short-sleeve T-shirt and shorts, I think, on the plane. Got out, and it was about, sort of 50 degrees Fahrenheit, very cold. They lost my suitcase. So all the clothes I had were the ones I was wearing. And they kept saying, we'll find your suitcase, don't worry. And in the end, I had to go and buy a load of clothes because I never did find the suitcase, and they had to send it back to New York a week later. Horrible.
You know, this obsession...
Don't ever go there, by the way.
Have you still got any of those clothes from Newfoundland?
Probably. Yeah.
But you know, an obsession with weather is a
next
human condition. Because when I was in LA, where every day is exactly the same, they're still obsessed with the weather. That's 1 degree hotter than it was yesterday. Oh, it's
we like
1
the
degree
weather.
colder than it was yesterday.
Don't we like the weather, though? I mean, it's a good subject.
It is a good
It's
subject.
a great subject.
Yeah.
I tell you what isn't a great subject. People who smell. All right? Now, this might be controversial, but I don't care.
Okay.
All right? It is 2025.
Yes.
There is no excuse to smell anything other than lovely.
Yes.
Right? Yet, in the recent heat wave and outside of that, there are still people wandering around who smell like polecats.
Yeah, they do.
And it's like...
How can they manage that?
No, but it's like, do you live alone? Do you not have anybody who cares for you?
Are you a middle-aged man without a girlfriend?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like sometimes you'll get on the tube or something, you're like, good God in heaven, could you not smell that?
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily always the armpit.
No.
You know, you get a bit of what can only be described as undercarriage.
What's worse than being on the tube in that situation is if you have somebody or have the necessity to call upon somebody to come into your house to do something.
Oh.
Whether to fix something.
Yes.
I used to find that the telephone engineers were the worst at this. People who would come in to put a telephone line in the old days into your house.
Oh, yeah. You heard
But do you
about
think
those?
that was because they had to wear a uniform, they didn't wash it regularly enough, and it was made out of man-made fibres?
Well, it could be that, or maybe they shared the uniforms or something, or I don't know. But there was certainly one instance I remember clearly when I just moved into a new flat somewhere in London. And this guy came, and he had, of course, the builder's bum crack. Naturally, you see that all the way.
Which is an odour area.
An odour area, and then he kept farting. I'm afraid. There's no other way to say it. And I ended up having to leave the room because I couldn't sit. And I was only a one-bedroom apartment. It wasn't like I could go anywhere else. You know.
But I mean, you know, in my other job, Home Slice Pizza.
Yeah.
2 sites in London, one in Covent Garden, one in the Bloomberg building in the city. Try it, it's very good pizza. We are in the hospitality business.
Yes.
And therefore, we are interacting with the general public.
Yeah.
Right? So occasionally, I have to point out to a team member that they might not necessarily smell in a way that makes people want to eat.
Is it because of the hot kitchen scenario, or not really?
But I mean, you have to approach it in a very delicate way.
You do.
Whereas when I first started, it was like, I told you sort you need to sort that out, or go and get a job elsewhere.
Yeah, right.
You know,
So-
now it's got
so how do you go about
Well,
it?
you have to have a whole welfare meeting, and you sit down with people and go, now, we have to draw to
everything
your
all right?
attention, is everything all right? And, you know, are you able to take care of yourself properly? It's like, isn't it just rip the Band-Aid off, go, you smell really bad,
Yeah.
here's a can of deodorant, use it every day.
Yeah, and have a shower once in a
And
while.
that is a good rule for life. See you next week. Thanks as ever to Mike and Kev for being grumpy. No voice notes, and try not to smell.